You've worked your entire life for this moment, the retirement dream. But what if I told you that the dream has a dark side? And no, it's not like the dark side, like something out of a movie, but more like a leaky faucet, if you will, that just won't quit. After helping thousands of people retire, I see these same 7 mistakes that guarantee frustration, like the regret of waiting until a health scare that forces you to sell your home, or having the money, but no one to share it with. Right now, I'm going to talk about your current home, your health, your finances, your purpose, your social life, your mindset, and your daily structure. So if you want to avoid being another sad statistic, if you want to actually enjoy the freedom you've earned, you need to see these 7 mistakes coming. Mistake number 1, ignoring your home's true cost. The biggest mistake starts right where you live. It's the family home trap. That lovely, spacious 4-bedroom house that you raise your kids in might become a prison in your retirement. You're basically paying a mortgage to clean rooms you never use. It's the ultimate empty nest tax. You're dealing with too much space you don't need, constant maintenance that drains your time and your money, and stairs that become a safety concern as the years go by. We recently worked with a couple, Dan and Mary, who were stuck in this exact situation. They were ready to retire, had this large house in a neighborhood that was just full of younger families. The upkeep on the home was relentless. The lawn maintenance, all the cleaning, the repairs, it was a part-time job they just didn't want anymore. But the real issue was the stairs. Mary had just recently gotten a hip surgery, and during her recovery, she took a spill that shook both of them. Suddenly, the house they loved felt like it was just no longer functional for their lives and was just too much. So the worst time to make a decision about your home is during a crisis like that, like after your fall. You're scared, you're rushed, and you often make a choice you regret. The foundation of your retirement happiness is a home that provides affordability, comfort, low maintenance, and the right location. You need to feel safe. You need to be in a community that fits your lifestyle now, not the lifestyle that you had 10, 15, 20 years ago. So if your home is draining you financially and emotionally with every passing day, that's a leak that will sink your entire retirement ship. It's not about giving something up. It's about choosing a lifestyle that sets you up for success. Mistake number 2, neglecting your health until it's too late. And speaking of choosing the right location, if you're thinking about relocating, Jessica and I are the #1 relocation team in all of Alabama. We help retirees make moves across the United States every single day, finding them the perfect spot to build their retirement happiness. Here's something we see a lot with our clients. Many are choosing new builds. Why? Because you don't have to worry about the updating, the things that you have to do right away. Unless it's a fun project you actually want to take on. New construction means new modern systems, better energy efficiency, and less immediate maintenance. Plus, many of these homes are built to gold fortified standards, which in our area means you have lower homeowners insurance costs. And they do that because they're designed to withstand severe weather. It's just one less thing to worry about financially. Here's the magic in finding the right home. It plugs you into the right rhythm. Think walkable streets where folks actually wave to you, low drama HOAs that handle that heavy lifting, and parks or paths that make your morning walks enjoyable instead of a chore. We'll show you communities that match your pace. Quiet when you want it, active when you need it, so you don't waste your time and you also gain peace of mind. And retirement, it's not just about saving money, it's about saving time. Time is the real currency now. The thing that buys you more sunsets, more slow mornings, more days doing exactly what you came here for. And if your home is draining you, your health is the next thing that pays the price. Mistake number 3, letting money worries cloud your golden years. There's a big difference between having money and feeling secure. You could have $1 million, but if you're scared to spend any of it, you're still lacking the one thing that matters most: peace of mind. This mistake shows up in 2 very different but equally miserable ways. First, there's the danger of high-risk investments when you no longer have a paycheck coming in. The go for broke mentality that might have worked in your 30s is a recipe for sleepless nights into your 60s. Your retirement portfolio needs to be a source of stable, predictable income, not a roller coaster ride. The stress of watching your life savings swing wildly with the market will absolutely crush you and your enjoyment. The opposite problem is just as bad: excessive frugality. You saved for decades, built a fantastic nest egg, and now you're too afraid to spend it. You're rich on paper, but you're living like a college student whose ramen budget just ran out. I've worked with couples who saved for decades. They've built a solid nest egg, and then we're too afraid to use it. They tell me, we can't take that cruise. What if we need that money later? And I tell them, later for what? This is what you saved it for. This is the later you were planning for. I knew one couple. They had everything calculated perfectly. They could comfortably travel, help their grandkids, travel with their grandkids, and enjoy nice dinners. But they were so conditioned to saving that they couldn't flip the switch to spending. They were living like they were still in their accumulation phase, and it made them very anxious and miserable. They had the money for freedom, but they were choosing a self-imposed restriction. Here's the piece that most people miss. Location is a financial decision, not just an emotional one. If you retire to a high-cost, high-tax area with expensive insurance and utilities, that monthly burn rate quietly eats your freedom. It's death by 1,000 line items. You got property taxes, HOA dues that don't actually reduce your workload, hurricane or wind coverage surprises, even fees for just basic services. So choose a place where fixed costs are predictable and the homeowner burden is much lighter and your budget can breathe. You lower your baseline so you can say yes to all the fun stuff that you want to do a lot more often. Smart budgeting in retirement isn't about restriction. It's about creating freedom. It's a plan that tells your money where to go so you don't have to worry about where it's going. It gives you permission to spend on the things that truly matter to you, guilt-free, because you know the essentials are covered. And when you have that clarity, that's when you truly feel secure. It's the confidence that comes with knowing that your finances are working for you and not the other way around. Mistake number 4, losing your identity and your purpose. For decades, a huge part of your identity was probably tied to your career. You were the manager, the teacher, the engineer, and that title gave you a sense of purpose, a place in the world, and that daily structure that you need. Then retirement comes along and that identity is stripped away overnight. This is the "who am I now" crisis. And if you don't have an answer, it's a fast track to feeling just lost and irrelevant. I see it all the time. Someone retires and for the first few months, it's like a vacation. But after the novelty wears off, you have a hollow feeling that sets in, right? You're no longer the #1 salesman. That title doesn't matter anymore. And if you don't replace that sense of accomplishment with something new, you risk hibernating. Your world starts to shrink. You go from a busy office to just the 4 walls of your house. Days blend together, and a sense of just drift takes over. This is why having a purpose is just non-negotiable. It's the anti-aging medicine for your soul. You need to have a reason to get dressed in the morning that isn't just about killing time until the evening. The most content retirees I know have at least 3 core activities that light them up. It can be a combination of hobbies, volunteering, and maybe even a little part-time work in a field they're passionate about, right? It's not about the money, not always. It's about the engagement. Adventure and curiosity become your new best friends. Being open to new experiences, whether it's learning a language, traveling to a place you've never been, or just exploring your own city with fresh eyes. It's what keeps life exciting. It's the difference between living and just existing, right? If you let your world get small, your happiness will get small right along with it. Purpose is vital, but here's the thing. We're not meant to pursue it alone. The deepest sense of fulfillment almost always comes with sharing it with others. And if you want help finding neighborhoods where that happens without you having to manufacture it, that's exactly what we do. Quietly, based on how you actually live, But even with a great circle of friends, if your mind is troubled, none of it will matter. Mistake number 5, allowing your social connections to fade. This is the silent epidemic of retirement, and it's one of the most painful regrets I hear about: loneliness. It creeps in slowly. You leave work, and suddenly you don't see your coworkers every day. Your kids are busy with their own lives. Friendships, if you don't actively nurture them, they can naturally start to drift away. You have to be intentional about it. I worked with a man, very successful professional. He was amazing at his job, but he was so focused on his career that he left his friendships fall by the wayside. He figured, I'll have time for that later. Well, later came, he retired, and the phone didn't ring. The invitations dry up. He found himself isolated, and that isolation turned into a deep sense of regret. He had the time and the money, but he had no one to share it with. This is especially crucial if you're single. The regret of staying single or failing to build those deep connections can become overwhelming. Maybe you were too consumed by work, or maybe you were just too guarded, afraid of getting hurt. Whatever the reason, it often becomes a major source of unhappiness. The truth is, relationships are like a garden. If you don't water them, they'll wither. You can't just expect them to be there when you have no time. You have to plant the seeds and tend to them now. The good news is, it's never too late to start building connections, but you have to be proactive about it. It doesn't just happen by accident. You need to start by prioritizing places with built-in social opportunities, where a quick walk or a morning coffee stop or a weekly class naturally puts you around people your age and stage in life. Think simple: repeatable touch points, a walking group on Tuesday mornings, a casual pickleball league, a volunteer shift that turns into lunch with new friends. These aren't just activities, they're real connection points. When you're in a community designed around shared routines, it's easier to find your tribe without having to force it. You're not just moving to a new house, you're stepping into a ready-made rhythm that keeps you out of isolation and in motion. True emotional well-being comes from facing your feelings, processing them, and finding healthy outlets. It's about creating a life that is so fulfilling that you don't need an escape from it. It's the difference between enduring your days and truly enjoying them. When your mind is at ease, that's when you can finally access the joy that your retirement was supposed to be all about. But there's one final piece that ties all this together, and if you miss it, the whole structure can fall apart. Mistake number 6: neglecting your mental and emotional peace. You can have the perfect home, great health, solid finances, a strong sense of purpose, and wonderful friends. But if you're carrying across a head full of stress and worry, you will not be happy. This is the internal work, and it's something you just absolutely cannot buy your way out of. I always tell people, peace of mind is priceless. Many people retire here and bring all their work-related stress with them. They're still mentally just clocked in, worrying about things they can no longer control. Or maybe it's a general anxiety about the future, about aging, about things just going wrong. That constant background noise of worry is just an absolute killer. It's like trying to enjoy a beautiful symphony with a fire alarm blaring in the distance. You just can't fully relax. This is why working on your mindset becomes critical. It's about learning to let go, letting go of the need to control everything, just letting go of old grudges, letting go of the identity that was tied to your job. This might involve some therapy, or it might just mean you're consciously practicing gratitude and mindfulness. It's acknowledging that while you can't control everything that happens, you can control how you respond to it. I also see retirees fall into the trap of just unhealthy coping habits, right? Too much TV, endless scrolling on social media, maybe even leaning too heavily on a drink in the evening to take the edge off, right? These things might offer a temporary escape, but they don't build lasting peace. They're temporary. In fact, they often make the underlying anxiety a little bit worse. So true emotional just well-being comes from facing your feelings, processing them, and just finding a healthy outlet. It's about creating a life that is so fulfilling that you don't need an escape from it. It's the difference between enduring your days and just truly enjoying them. When your mind is at ease, that's when you can finally access that joy of your retirement, what it's supposed to be all about. That and just putting it all together. And if you miss it, the whole structure can just fall apart. Mistake number 7, having no daily structure or routine. This final piece is your daily structure. I know it might sound counterintuitive. You spent your whole life dreaming of a day with no schedule, no alarm clock. But I'm telling you, doing nothing is just a recipe for misery. The permanent vacation mindset is a trap. Without a rhythm to your days, time is, I don't know, just slips away. And I learned this lesson the hard way. When I left the Navy, I thought I was ready. I recently retired from the military, where I had served as a United States Navy Seabee. And if you know anything about Seabees, we're the builders. We worked hard building bases and infrastructure for these bases. But what I didn't realize until I was out is that I was also building my identity around structure. Every day had a mission: reveille, muster, objectives, debrief. There was a cadence to everything. Then one day, it was all gone. I remember one morning, maybe about 2 months after, I was sitting in my kitchen. No alarm, no uniform, no task, and I just felt off. Not sad, not scared, just untethered. I know I earned some rest. Sure, right? But I hadn't planned for the silence. The lack of structure, no morning routine, no schedule. The days just started to be blurred together. I started gaining more weight because I stopped working out. I started feeling more like a shadow of who I used to be. And it honestly scared me. But what brought me back was simple. I created my own rhythm. Wake up at the same time, make the bed, which meant shaking my wife Jessica out of it, rolling out to the coffee bar, and getting back to just your small daily routines. This familiar just ritual just makes each step better. You feel more grounded, more like myself again, or yourself, because I went back to who I was in uniform, but because I gave myself a framework to grow into, which I was becoming. You don't need a stressful job, but you do need the structure. Your brain craves it. The most successful retirements I've seen mimic the positive aspects of the work rhythm without all that negative pressure. I have a client who moved here recently from Texas, and we're Facebook friends, so I get to see his schedule through his posts. And let me tell you, every Monday and Friday, like clockwork, he and his wife are out there doing something fun. They've turned exploring the area into their weekly routine. Just this past Monday, they were at the beach, and today I saw them boarding a train from Mobile going to Gulfport. And they mentioned that they were stopping in Ocean Springs too. It's structured, but it's the kind of structure that feeds your soul. So if you're waking up and feeling like time just disappears, build a schedule. Build your own morning muster. Even if it's just wake up, coffee, go for a walk, that anchor changes everything. A schedule isn't a prison. It's a container that gives your freedom meaning. It's pretty simple. When you fix those 7 leaks, your bad house fit, your health slipping, money noise, no purpose, shrinking social circle, no peace, just no daily rhythm, your life gets a whole lot lighter. More joy with less drag. And if you're thinking about where to land next, somewhere with coastal ease, low stress, and close to what really matters, reach out. Just can I do this every single day? You tell us your must-haves and we'll build a plan around them. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and we'll see you on the next one.